Welcome back to the Lightkeeper's Path. I'm so happy you're here. Today's episode is very exciting because today I'm ripping off the Bandaid to be truly authentic. This episode is dedicated to Kathy Heller and her amazing podcast program. And the reason I say that is because I've been in her podcast program and it's all about being authentic. And before you be authentic, you have to get out of that fight or flight and just getting comfortable in front of the camera, which took me a little bit. And I'm so excited because today is my episode 11, podcast episode 11. And I learned that most podcasters don't even make it to podcast 10. So here comes the confetti. Woo! If you're on YouTube, you see it coming down with my hands. And if you're listening via audio, you can just visualize it coming down. But I'm so happy to be here. I'm so happy that you've been here and made it through to my episode 11. So ripping off the Band-Aid. Woo! There it goes. The hair's up in a bun. There is no makeup. I've changed my setting because the lighting wasn't working. I wanted the lemon tree because the lemon tree is very spiritual, but it just wasn't working. And I just want to show up. And I want to be here for you and tell you my story about my healing. Those first 10 episodes are very, very critical because in the beginning, I talk about how regulating my nervous system was key and critical to my healing process, physically, but mostly emotionally. And as we know, that mind-body connection is just so incredibly critical. Now, being here vulnerable, showing up, and just being me is what I wanted to do in this episode 11, especially since it's an angel number. And I'm all about angels and I'm all about spirituality. Because without my awakening and learning that there's something bigger than this, just what's in front of me, I never would have gotten to today and to this point. I was in such a fight or flight state for so long, especially the last 2.5 years before I moved on to my new life, that when you're in that state, it's so difficult to see beyond that facade of just the craziness of all of it. And again, just to kind of recap, what helped me get out of that state was movement was my very first one, and that was running. And interestingly enough, my relationship with running has completely changed. When I started using running in January 2023, it was my solace just to get through a day. And it was my getting back to myself. It was, I can do this. I hadn't run for 23 years. So it was a really big thing. I used to do 10Ks and 5Ks and all kinds of things. So it was just getting out there in motion and proving that I could do it. It was beautiful. Then the second thing that was really critical was the EFT tapping. That was really getting out of my fight or flight. I've learned through this healing process, which I had no idea before. I always thought, and I was grown up with, if you do therapy, talk therapy, you're going to get out of whatever it is. Well, let me tell you, talk therapy is amazing. I still have my therapist. I only talk with him once a month now. There was at one point when I was in high fight or flight, it was 3 times a week. I would send him an email late at night and say, "Hey, Matt, are you available? I don't know how I'm going to get through this." And he was amazing. And we had a meeting last week, and it was so beautiful. And I'll probably keep him for a bit. Just keep, he's like, "Kim, you've had so many wins. This is so beautiful." But I didn't realize that you get to a certain point with talk therapy and you really need to get it out of your body. Because when you're going through these traumas or whatever it is, your body responds. Like we cringe, or our stomach, or our heart stops, or we squish our face. And that emotion sticks in your body. So how much ever talk therapy you do, it doesn't get out. And then here comes the vibration piece. you're emitting that vibration of that clenching, clenching, clenching. And it's just like you're on that little rat wheel. You just keep going and you keep attracting it. So you get to a point where you really do need to do the somatic healing. And that's where I started the EFT tapping. And then I also learned that running is, and moving your body, dancing and singing, that is also a form of somatic healing. But what I've found, and that does really help, I don't want to dismiss that. And also, disclaimer here, I'm not medical advice. I'm telling you and sharing my experience, and I hope it resonates with somebody. And I hope if I touch one person, just one person, that will just make my day. But going back to the somatic piece, when you name it, when you do the EFT tapping, which you go to different points and you name it, and then you go back and you work it through, it's priceless. It really got me through a lot. I worked with a practitioner one-on-one for 4 months, and then I'd go to her weekly class. And then she'd have different workshops. So I'd do those as well. And she's one of my best friends. I'll always be ever indebted to Carly. She's amazing. I love her so much. I'll have her on here as a guest. She'll be phenomenal. She also allowed me to just have fun and be real. And then the third piece was meditation. And it was because my mind was filled with so much clutter, just so much chaos. And I started small. And then I went bigger. I started out with just 5 minutes, really not much. And then I worked up to 10. And I used to think, like I said in one of my earlier podcasts, that I thought you had to just be, like this, quiet the whole time. Well, you can get to that point. You can do a 7-day retreat where it's just a meditation retreat, which I'd love to do sometime. It's not in my cards right yet. But, you just start small. And there's so many amazing free resources now. So many. YouTube, Insight Timer. I mean, they're all over the place. Everybody's doing a meditation. Maybe I'll post a meditation. I think I will. I think I'll post a meditation. You get on my email list and you get the meditation. People have asked for that. And those were the 3 real key critical things for me to get through that fight or flight situation. And people will say, well, Kim, why were you in fight or flight? Well, my home life wasn't healthy. I didn't sleep for the last 2.5 years of my marriage. Can you imagine? I was woken up 3 times in the middle of the night. It wasn't healthy. It was erratic. The other thing I've learned, also through the Kathy Heller program, which I did not know this, that you co-regulate with the people around you. So not only your vibration attracts the people that you're vibrating at, which makes absolute sense. So it's interesting, right? You know somebody and they have an unhealthy relationship. Let's say it's a romantic relationship. And then they get rid of that one. And then they attract the same. And then they attract the same. And then they attract the same. Well, you keep repeating the behavior. Well, guess what? You got to do the hard work. Here comes shadow work. I didn't understand what that meant. Inner child work. I didn't understand what that meant. I'd hear all these kind of things, but I didn't understand. And I'm so grateful to all the practitioners that have held my hand along the way. My talk therapist, Matt, my EFT training, Carly, and now probably the creme de la creme is my practitioner, Christy. We've done the deepest of deep work ever. This is also somatic work. And I did my first session with her and I didn't understand it. Oh my gosh, I manifested like mad, literally 2 days later. I didn't even understand it. That session was all about bringing in play and going back to your child. So with her somatic work, you go into the subconscious, which also you do with the EFT, most of it, but you go to the subconscious because Again, I didn't understand this, but we run these programs. Isn't this funny? It's like the TV programming. Yeah, hello, TVs, they do program you. But you have these programs in your head that you keep running, and the programs are usually from your childhood. I have to get straight A's. If I get straight A's, my mom's going to love me. I have to do this. If I do this, then I'm going to get love. I have to, all these different programs. And it's not just parents, it's situations. A lot of times it's situations. And a lot of times when you go back in there and you do the deep work, you're surprised. I was. You're surprised at what it is. And it might not have anything to do with your parents. It might not have anything to do with anything super crazy, like you're thinking, oh, it's edgy, it's like abuse. It doesn't even have to be that. It's a complete misunderstanding because your 6 or your 7-year-old self. And the adults are the ones who are older, who are saying whatever they're saying. They're coming from a different place and they don't even mean that. And you carry on that repeat pattern going through. Or it could also be something like grief. Yeah. And if you don't process grief completely, like completely, you carry that on at a subliminal and you respond to people or situations with that grief there. Or people pleasing. Oh, we all know people pleasing. People pleasing is because you want to control the situation so you don't get into that same uncomfortable situation. So, kind of interesting. My journey's been amazing. It's been hard. I've had more tears than you ever even want to know. I started to say, and I had a little tangent there about my relationship with my running. So, the running was to cope. And it was my me time for 40 minutes, maybe an hour. And it was beautiful. And then you have the runner's high, so you feel good. And then your body's feeling better, so you feel good. But you could finish your run, then you go back and you shower and you feel good. And then something gets your nervous system. And because you're used to responding that way, you're back in it. So, it was a process. But the most interesting thing, and I told Christy, my current somatic coach, about 6 weeks ago, because I've had so many pivotal upgrades and changes that I'm working through stuff. My relationship with running changed. I don't need it to survive anymore. It's completely changed. I mean, before, if I didn't go for my run, I was going to go crazy. It's like, I got to run, I got to run, I got to run. I tell my loved ones in my house or my friends, I'm sorry, I've got to go for my run today. I've got to go. Isn't that funny? Oh my gosh. So when it changed, it was like, I don't need to run. I'm feeling good. And this may resonate with some of you and this may not. And it's okay. Either way, fine. I'm just glad you've made it this far. You're with me. I'm on episode 11 and you're still listening to me talk. Thank you so much. I have so much gratitude. But yeah, it's so interesting. So I don't have to run, but I do love to run. And I love the feeling afterwards. I love it. And I love that shower and you're getting all clean and you put your fresh clothes on and you're like, woo, I did it. I can have my dark chocolate, no big deal. I can eat the popcorn at night, no big deal. It's all fine. I drink more water because I crave it. Um, so yeah, it's such an amazing piece. But I have so much gratitude for all the deep work I was willing to do, and show up every day and get through to the next day and just keep showing up. I did a lot in 2.5 years. I started the running. I said to no more, I'm not going to be treated that way. I filed for divorce, separation, then divorce. I had to deal with how that other party responded, which wasn't easy, and another family member. That was tender, my daughter, very tender. Had to find housing, didn't know where that was going to be. Finances, didn't know how that was going to play out. Have a dog. A lot of places don't rent to dogs. Had to tell my daughter, because the other party didn't want to, about everything. 2 weeks before her chemistry final in college. That wasn't easy. Moved. Didn't take much. Took suitcases and maybe 2 small pieces of furniture, left everything in the house because had to rent it out as an Airbnb. Got an amazing renter. I did all that. Amazing. Had an amazing property manager. If you need one in the Santa Cruz County, DM me and I'll let you know. It was they were phenomenal. Shout out to Surf City. And then I'm not getting endorsed by that way, by the way, but they were just phenomenal. Through them, they helped me find an amazing, like amazing house. Beautiful, like perfect. I didn't even know how everything was going to come into play. I reached out to an organizer I used to work with, Lauren, amazing. And I used to donate a lot of stuff to her. And I thought, why don't I just ask? I don't know how I'm going to do this. I have nothing. She contacted all her people. I got everything. I pretty much furnished the house for free. I got a couch, a love seat, coffee table, a lazy boy, my bed, and table and chairs. Got that on Marketplace, $40. Love it. And the most amazing thing is everything fit perfectly, like the color and everything. I kept one cheapy kind of bookcase because needed that. We used to have books everywhere. And then it was just trying to cope and figure out everything. What was I going to do? How was I going to do it? And it was just one step at a time. Honestly, one step at a time. We had construction that had to be done at the house. The renters kept extending. They were amazing. They did the construction, managed that before we could sell it. Got that all finished out. Sold the house. And that was amazing because the market was starting to go down. Beautiful, beautiful people who purchased it. Really amazing souls. And so much more. Got my daughter graduated from community college. She had some health issues, actually a lot. Got her whole. She's getting ready to go off to 4-year college. And when I talked with Christy and I started working with her one-on-one in, I guess it was maybe March, I said, wow, I said, I said, I guess maybe I could have done all this. And there was a lawsuit at the house too. I said, I guess maybe I could have done this without you. But she goes, well, Kim, you could have, but you would have been white knuckled and you would have probably had a complete breakdown after. And she's right, because when I write down all the SHIT that I went through and made it whole and I'm above, it's amazing. I can't even believe it. So again, I'm so glad you're here. Raw and real. Here I am. Oh my gosh. And I'm looking forward to having some guests on. I have a new background because this might be easier with the lighting if you're watching on YouTube. And hey, I would love your feedback. I would love your feedback. If you want to send me an email and say, hey, tell me this about your healing process, or I want to know about this. The Light Keeper's Path is all about having that inner light, going digging deep, and shining it bright through the darkness and the waves and the unknown, which I had a lot of. And I'm here to help others. So I'm open. I'm open to feedback. If you would like to send me an email at kimberly.katherine rebecca.spirits@gmail.com. Anything specific that you would like to know about or any suggestions for upcoming episodes? I have my list, but I'm open to feedback. And I'll be starting a newsletter soon, so it would be fun. You can get on my email list with different little nuggets of information and meditations. So thank you so much for showing up today. Hey, here we are, raw and real. Make it a beautiful day, and don't forget to breathe. Sometimes, so many times throughout the day, we keep it up here because we get in those situations. But I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much.